Hi everyone, welcome to BT Outdoors. I'm Mitchell Fan, and as always, Aaron Keebler.
Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Table Talk. This week we're going to be talking about our first deer, gun and bow that we've been lucky enough to take. So Mitchell, with that, why don't you tell us about your first experience?
My first experience, I was about 13 years old. I went out with my dad right behind the house. Didn't think we'd see anything, and went for a walk in rifle season, and just so happened a deer came out. We sat down for a few minutes. It came out about 100 yards, and when I went to take the shot, my gun dry fired, so I had to reload and put it on him again. And when I put it on again, I pulled this time and the shell went off, and he ran about 50 yards maybe and expired. And it was just one of those moments that really got me hooked on being in the outdoors and hunting and everything, because one of the best experiences of my life, being out there with my dad and my family will being all around later. Really just a great moment.
I actually wasn't as lucky enough as you were to be so fortunate so early. I was 16 years old. I was hunting out of a stand at a property real close to my house that you actually helped me build, as well as my dad. It was winter time, snow on the ground. Perfect scenario for something like this. One of the first bucks that I've ever actually had an opportunity to shoot came out of the woods. Watched it for a couple minutes. Gave me a broadside shot about 200 yards, and shot, hit him. You can hear the hit. Ran about 15-20 yards. Stood there, shot again, hit him a second time. Ran another 15-20 yards and piled up. The 243 laid the smack down. Called my dad, called the boys, came around, did the stand around, did the celebration, and I figured out then that you only get into this what you get out of it, and I carried that with me in archery season through hanging stands and setting trail cameras and really putting the time into scouting and through that hanging stands in the right location. So it was my second year of archery, and I was using a Bowtech Vital Impact. It was a great bow. Deer came out, could tell it was a buck. It was a nice buck. There was another buck in the field. I actually got to watch them spar for a couple minutes, which was a great experience. So they did their thing out in the woods, and out in the field. I'm sorry. He chased that buck off, turned around. I never thought he would do this, but came back into the woods and gave me a perfect 30-yard shot. Hit him right behind the shoulder, and in 40 or 50 yards he piled up. Once again, it's just what we do. Called the boys, did the celebration around the deer, and that was it. It was an 8-point, probably 12, 13 inches inside. Nothing big, but with your first deer with your gun, your bow, any deer for that matter is a trophy. So I know I wasn't. Once again, I know you were pretty fortunate this year to take your first deer with a bow. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I've been hunting archery since I was about 14 years old. Just target practicing and stuff, and I actually got my dad into archery hunting so he could go out with me, and we started going out, and I've been hunting archery every year since. And this year was actually my first year. I was lucky enough to take one with the bow after a lot of hours, a lot of work and everything put in, and it was an 8-point, about 14 inches inside. He came out about 60 yards, I'd say, and I didn't think, he did the unthinkable. Like he said, he turned around and walked right towards me. I took him at 5 yards with my Martin that I shoot with the Nat Blood Runners, and I double lunged him. He didn't run more than 20 yards and piled up. And like always, we called the boys out, had our celebration, but that was probably the best adrenaline rush I've ever had. That's what really hooks you on, is just that adrenaline rush you get, and it really hooked me. And to that day, every year I can't wait for the first day of archery again. So
yeah, you know what? That's about all we have for you today. I know everybody has that first buck with your gun and your bow, so would love for you guys to tell us a little bit about yours. Everyone remembers it. It's a memorable experience. But with that, I think that's about it for us tonight. So stick with us next week for another issue of Table Talk.
This is BT Outdoors. I'm Mitchell Fan, and as always, Aaron Keebler. Thanks, guys.